This is Inside the Americas, coming up. Republican Nikki Haley running for president. The former governor and ex-U.S. ambassador to the UN challenging her old boss, Donald Trump. Then the Chinese spy balloon over the U.S. has ignited new debate over a plan to ban Chinese citizens from buying property in some American states. A look at the situation in Texas coming up. And we'll follow migrants making a treacherous crossing through a Colombian jungle into Panama. The ultimate goal? Reaching the U.S. I'm Jeannie Godula. The next presidential election in the States is still 20 months away, but a second Republican has already thrown her hat in the ring. That's Nikki Haley, a former South Carolina governor and ex-ambassador to the UN. She says she wants a new generation of leadership in Washington. Haley will now have to take on her former boss, Donald Trump, who already announced his bid for re-election last year.
I'm Nikki Haley, and I'm running for president.
It is official. Nikki Haley is a candidate. The 51-year-old former governor of South Carolina is casting herself as a younger, fresher alternative. She was appointed ambassador to the United Nations under former President Donald Trump. She became a colleague of his even though she had been a Trump critic.
While I won't pretend to have always been President-elect's biggest cheerleader.
Haley cut her second term as governor of South Carolina short to join Trump's team. She became the first female and first minority governor of the state at the age of 44. The daughter of Indian immigrants is known for bridging the racial divide. She was thrust into the national spotlight in 2015 after a white supremacist killed 9 people in a Charleston church, an event that prompted her to push for the removal of the controversial Confederate flag from the state legislature. Under Trump, she supported his decision to pull out of the UN's Human Rights Council, the Paris Climate Agreement, and the nuclear deal with Iran.
In this warehouse is concrete evidence of illegal Iranian weapons proliferation.
After leaving the Trump administration in 2019, Haley returned to South Carolina and wrote 2 books. In 2021, she announced she wouldn't consider a White House bid if President Trump was running. That's not how it has worked out.
I don't think you need to be 80 years old to go be a leader in D.C. I think we need a young generation to come in.
While most national polls show Nikki Haley in single digits, she has got a record of winning tough races. If she does secure the Republican ticket, she will be the first woman and the first non-white person to do so.
The alleged Chinese spy balloon over the Americas last week brought new attention to proposed laws in several states that would ban citizens of China from buying property in the U.S. Critics say the proposals hark back to racist laws from the early 1900s preventing Asian Americans from owning land, homes, and other buildings. Emerald Maxwell has a closer look now at one bill being considered in Texas.
Stop discrimination!
They say their community is being unfairly targeted. A proposed Texas law would ban Chinese citizens from buying land or property in the state on national security grounds. That would mean that people with Chinese heritage who live in Texas but aren't US citizens wouldn't even be able to buy a home.
For the past 8 years, I paid my tax. I'm working hard, and we just had a little boy last July. So we're thinking about buying a new house for him. But now this bill came out, it's suddenly all my American dream has been smashed.
The law would also bar Russians, Iranians, and North Koreans from buying real estate. But foreign-born Chinese make up the largest community of the nationalities singled out in Texas. It wouldn't be the first such law in the US. States such as Oklahoma, Minnesota, and Iowa have bans on foreign ownership of agricultural land amid food security concerns. Texas has already passed a law barring infrastructure projects with links to the Chinese government, but the new bill would go further by applying to all property and to all Chinese citizens simply on account of being from China. This Texas lawmaker says it's prompted more by rising anti-Chinese sentiment than any legitimate security concerns.
For a long time, our community has been used as a scapegoat for the rest of the world. So during COVID-19, people blamed Asian Americans, people here, for the problems that came from other parts of the world. And we're finally going to stand up and say no more.
The Chinese Foreign Ministry has responded that such a ban would violate the principles of market economy and international trade rules. In Texas, it could also threaten the state's strong economic relationship with China, its second largest trading partner. But the move comes amid heightened political tensions between China and the United States, most recently over espionage, after the US shot down a number of suspected Chinese spy balloons in American airspace.
Next, in Colombia, a team from our sister channel, France 2, made a perilous journey alongside migrants crossing through treacherous jungles into Panama. They report now on how the migrants from as far apart as Venezuela, Haiti, and Africa all have the same goal: getting to the United States. Loïc de la Monnaie, Thomas Donzel, and Nicholas Rushworth explain.
The scenery is spectacular, but trekking in the jungle here in the Darien Gap on Colombia's border with Panama is no walk in the park. It's a huge challenge for these migrants.
It's a coral snake. If it bites you, you're dead.
I'm tired. It's really hard.
These men, women and children are making the journey because they feel they have little more to lose. The migrants help each other as they progress, driven by the dream of reaching the United States. This is their story. At 6 a.m. on their first day, they gathered at this camp on the edge of the jungle run by a Colombian drug trafficking cartel and were given final instructions before setting off.
Watch out, don't play Superman. Women who are pregnant must tell us. Some women give birth during their journey and the baby does not survive.
Among those taking the journey, Fernanda and her daughter, and Manuel. They're from Ecuador and became friends on a boat to Colombia. They're aware of the risks.
I know there are crocodiles and that we'll see corpses along the way.
If you break a leg or you have a fracture, it's over. There'll be no help and you'll have to stay here. It's walk or die. But the worst thing would have been for us to stay where we were.
The group of hundreds of migrants begins what is a grueling marathon that will last days. The Pan American Highway goes from the far north of Alaska to the southernmost tip of the Americas, more than 25,000 kilometers of road, except at Darien Gap, linking South America to Central America. There is no road for 106 kilometers. Instead, there's just jungle. The migrants have paid $350 each to the drug trafficking cartel to make the journey. That's a huge amount for these people who have already traveled a long way to get to this point.
I come from Haiti. I got a plane from there to Chile. If we get to the US, life will be a lot easier for us.
They walk 10 hours a day. Fernanda is struggling. And so is Manuel. But they remain as determined as ever.
I don't have any choice. I can't go back to Ecuador because of the problems.
On the third day, they reach Colombia's border with Panama. There's no customs office here, just a sign.
We've made it. I'm happy but so tired. We've really made progress. Come on, let's move on.
Fernanda that evening explained why she left Ecuador.
Look at my scars. My ex-boyfriend cut me. He slashed my arms. It was clear then that he was going to kill me. My daughter took the decision. She said, "Mum, we've got to escape, leave." There were a few things in the house, such as a TV. We sold everything and left that evening.
Manuel too opened up. He says he fled Ecuador because a drug trafficking gang wanted to recruit him, and he refused.
They broke into my house. They killed my pregnant wife and a friend. They wanted to kill all of us. I wasn't in the house at the time.
They have 3 more days ahead of them to get to Panama. They have to cross streams and rivers, and along the way they see corpses of migrants who have died of exhaustion. The cartel is no longer in control. Bandits rule here. They see the corpse of a woman who has been raped and the body of a man that witnesses say was thrown from the cliff above. The journey continues with the hope that they can get through unscathed. Near the end, they come across a woman left behind by a group ahead of them. She is pregnant and cannot walk well after spraining her ankle. Some of the Haitian migrants built a stretcher for her. The journey in all takes 5 days on foot and a stretch at the end by canoe to get to the first village in Panama. They have made it, however, it is not over. They have another 3,000 kilometers to travel through Central America to get to their final destination, their El Dorado, the United States.
And finally, our number of the week is a big fat 0. That's how much pop star Rihanna took home for her incredible Super Bowl show last Sunday. The 13-minute concert was the singer's first performance in 7 years, where she also showed off her new baby bump. And while halftime performers at the Super Bowl are actually never paid, the final payout from the show, seen by millions around the world, can be huge. J-Lo's streams spiked by 335% after the 2020 Super Bowl. Shakira's went up 230%. In fact, the biggest Super Bowl success story was Lady Gaga back in 2017. Her album and song sales increased 1,000%. Well, that wraps it up for this edition. Thanks so much for watching Inside the Americas. We'll see you again next time for all the news from north to south.
I'm Gulliver Cragg, France 24's correspondent in Kiev. I'm forever crisscrossing Ukraine, Poland and other countries in the region to keep you up to date with all the news from Central and Eastern Europe. Join me on Live from Paris and in all France 24's news and magazine programmes.
Gulliver Cragg, one of the 200 France 24 correspondents around the world.